such a cool idea to build. Why didn't I figure it out myself? Let's learn how to build a maze.
Round 1.
Today, I am building a maze and keeping it simple with basic materials that everyone can find easily. I use dirt blocks for all the walls of my maze because dirt is everywhere and you never run out of it. The walls are only 1 block high, which makes this a pretty easy maze to escape from if you really wanted to cheat by jumping over. But that would ruin the fun of actually solving the maze by walking through the corridors and finding the right path. Dirt has a brown, earthy color that looks natural like hedges in a real garden maze would look. I build the pathways twisting and turning with some dead ends to confuse anyone who tries to navigate through. At the entrance of the maze, I place an oak fence gate so people know where to start their journey. At the exit, I place another oak fence gate marking the finish line where successful maze solvers will emerge victorious. The gates add a nice finished look and clearly show the beginning and end points. Phew, it took so much effort. Great, my maze is ready.
What? Hello?
Hey, Banana Kid, look, I built it. Do you like?
No.
What? Do you think my maze is very easy to pass?
What?
It's a pity, but I tried so hard. Maybe then you'll try to build a better maze yourself?
Yay!
They ran to the place. This is where your building will be. Are you ready?
Ta-da!
Then go ahead.
Round 2.
Banana Kid starts building his maze, and I can already tell he has something special planned because he is not just making random walls. He begins by placing blocks on the ground in what looks like a specific pattern or shape that I cannot quite figure out yet. He uses gold blocks, which are very expensive and shiny materials for building a maze. Most people would use something cheaper like stone or wood. The gold blocks gleam in the sunlight as Banana Kid carefully places each one following some kind of outline or template in his head. I am watching closely, trying to understand what shape he is creating on the ground with all this gold. It looks like some kind of figure or silhouette, but the scale is so large that it is hard to see the full picture from ground level where I am standing and observing. The golden outline continues to grow as Banana Kid adds more blocks to complete the shape he has planned. Gold blocks are one of the most visually striking materials in Minecraft, with their bright yellow metallic appearance that catches every ray of light. Whatever Banana Kid is building, it is going to be impressive just based on the materials alone, not to mention the creative design. The silhouette on the ground is taking form, but I still cannot tell what it is supposed to represent yet. Banana Kid works methodically, placing each gold block in exactly the right position, according to his mental blueprint. This is clearly not a random maze design, but something with meaning and purpose behind every wall placement. Now Banana Kid places some brown concrete blocks at the front of his maze structure in a specific location. These brown blocks seem to be forming the sole of a shoe or foot at the bottom of whatever figure he is creating. The brown color contrasts nicely with the gold and adds realistic detail to what might be footwear. Inside the maze area, Banana Kid starts placing gold ore blocks on the ground to create the floor. Gold ore has a different texture than solid gold blocks with those characteristic golden specks visible in the stone. This flooring choice continues the golden theme while adding visual variety to the interior surfaces where people will be walking through the maze. The floor of gold ore sparkles differently than the solid gold walls, catching light in a more subtle, scattered pattern. Banana Kid is creating a truly luxurious maze experience with all this gold everywhere you look, inside and out. The brown concrete at the front is definitely shoes now that I look more carefully at the overall shape developing. Banana Kid increases the height of the outer walls using more gold blocks stacked on top of each other. He also adds brown concrete in certain areas to maintain that shoe design at the base of the figure. The walls grow taller, making the maze more challenging because now you cannot see over them to find your way. Higher walls mean a more difficult maze, since you cannot cheat by looking over the top to spot the exit path. Banana Kid uses both gold and concrete strategically, gold for most of the outer boundary, and brown concrete for specific design elements. At the back of the maze, Banana Kid starts building what looks like a head shape using gold blocks for the main structure. He adds black concrete for what must be eyes or facial features on this character head. Red concrete also appears, adding more detail to the face, maybe a mouth or other features that bring the character to life. Now I am starting to understand what Banana Kid has been building this whole time. The shape on the ground, the shoes at the front, the head at the back with a face. This is a maze in the shape of himself. Banana Kid is building a giant version of his own character as a maze that people can walk through. The internal anatomy of the Banana Kid-shaped maze is taking form with legs, knees, and body sections all mapped out. Brown concrete and terracotta create those details that make the shape recognizable from above as a person. Terracotta has a slightly different brown tone than concrete, adding subtle color variation to these internal features. Now Banana Kid starts the most important part of any maze, which is designing the actual pathways and walls inside. He marks out the base positions for internal maze walls, carefully planning where each barrier will go to create a challenging puzzle. The internal walls need to allow a correct path from entrance to exit. While also including many dead ends to confuse maze runners. Banana Kid thinks carefully about maze design, making sure there is actually a solution to his labyrinth puzzle. He tries to leave the correct passage available, while still making it difficult to find among all the wrong turns. Building a good maze requires balance between being solvable and being challenging enough to be fun. Too easy, and it is boring. Too hard, and people give up frustrated. Banana Kid places the wall foundations strategically throughout the interior space of his character-shaped outline. Finally, Banana Kid extends each internal wall upward, making them tall enough that the correct path is not immediately visible. When walls are short, you might see over them and spot where you need to go, which ruins the maze experience. Tall walls force you to actually explore each corridor and discover dead ends the hard way by walking into them. The internal maze structure grows higher with each wall segment. Banana Kid completes one by one. Now the maze is properly confusing with many pathways that all look similar from inside at eye level. The Banana Kid-shaped maze is complete, a creative self-portrait that also functions as a challenging labyrinth to solve.
Ta-da! Yay!
Where did everyone run off to? Hey guys, what's all that noise?
Banana Kid and I are building a maze, JJ. Who did it better?
Oh, both of your buildings look great, but I think it's up to the audience to decide who did the best.
Yes, JJ, you're right. Maybe then you have comments on the construction of Banana Kid?
Absolutely none. He built a rather interesting and moderately complex maze. I really like...
I totally agree with you, JJ. Maybe you'll build a maze?
Okay, then let's run to the place.
JJ, good luck to you. We'll wait in the house.
But
Thanks, guys. Then I'm starting. Round 3. Today, I will be building a maze, and I plan to use commands to make the construction process more efficient and precise. Building a large maze by hand would take an enormous amount of time, but with commands, I can create the foundation quickly and then focus on the actual maze design. I start by using the fill command to create a large circle on the grass using red concrete blocks. Red concrete has a bold, vibrant color that will make my maze stand out dramatically from the green grass surrounding it. The circle shape is interesting for a maze because most labyrinths are rectangular, so this will be unique. The command executes and instantly a perfect circle of red concrete appears on the ground, marking the boundary of my future maze. Then I use another command to fill the inside of this circle, replacing all the dirt and grass blocks with red concrete to create a solid floor. The circular red floor now covers a large area and provides the perfect foundation for building maze walls on top. Red concrete has a smooth texture that will look clean and modern for the maze flooring where people will walk. Using commands saved me probably an hour of placing blocks one by one in a circle pattern, which is tedious work. The circle is mathematically perfect, which would be almost impossible to achieve by hand placement. Now, I have a blank canvas, a red circular platform ready for the maze walls to be constructed upon it. The color choice of red creates an intense atmosphere, like walking through a dangerous, challenging puzzle. Commands are powerful tools that professional builders use to create large-scale projects efficiently without sacrificing quality or precision in the final result. At the entrance point of the circle, I place a door so people know exactly where to begin their maze journey. The door marks the starting line clearly. You walk through this door and your challenge begins immediately inside. On the opposite side of the circle, I place another door, which will be the exit, the goal that maze runners are trying to reach. Having clearly marked entrance and exit points is essential for any good maze design because people need to know their objective. Now, I start building the outer walls of the maze by increasing the height of the circle edges all around the perimeter. The walls rise up from the red concrete floor using the same red concrete material for a unified monochromatic look throughout. The outer walls grow taller block by block as I work my way around the entire circular perimeter of the maze. These boundary walls serve two important purposes in maze design that every builder should understand clearly. First, they prevent people from simply walking out of the maze sideways to escape without solving it properly. Second, they block the view of the interior so you cannot see the solution from outside before entering the challenge. The walls need to be tall enough that players cannot jump over them or see the pathways from inside. Red concrete stacks cleanly with nice straight edges, creating professional-looking walls around my circular maze. The outer boundary is now complete, a tall red cylinder with 2 doors on opposite sides marking start and finish. Now comes the most important and challenging part of building any maze, designing the internal walls and pathways. I will be building the maze foundation inside from the same red concrete to keep everything matching. Before placing any blocks, I need to think carefully about maze design principles so I do not create something impossible or too easy. The key rule of maze building is that there must always be at least one valid path from entrance to exit. If you accidentally block all possible routes, then your maze is broken and unsolvable, which frustrates everyone. At the same time, you want many wrong paths and dead ends to make the journey challenging and confusing for people trying to solve it. I start placing red concrete blocks on the floor to mark where internal walls will eventually rise up. Working on the ground level first lets me see the overall layout before committing to tall walls. This planning phase is crucial because once walls are built high, it becomes very hard to see if your maze actually works. I think of myself as someone who will need to solve this maze, and I trace possible paths with my eyes before building. Every wall I place creates new pathways on either side, and I need to make sure at least one of those paths leads somewhere useful. Dead ends are good, but there need to be alternatives nearby, so players are not stuck forever in one spot. One technique I use is building walls that look like they block progress, but actually have openings just around the corner. This creates that satisfying moment when a maze runner thinks they are trapped, but then discovers a hidden passage forward. Another technique is creating multiple paths that seem correct, but most of them loop back to where you started. This wastes the player's time without being unfair because they could have chosen differently at the junction. I carefully place foundation blocks following these principles, always keeping track of where the entrance and exit are located. The internal structure grows more complex as I add more wall segments throughout the circular space, creating many corridors. Building a maze is like creating a puzzle where you know the answer but need to hide it cleverly among wrong answers. I make sure I always know which direction leads to the exit, even as the pathways become confusing and twisted. If I lose track of the solution while building, then I have definitely made the maze too complicated for myself. I use mental markers, remembering that the exit door is in a certain direction from where I am currently placing blocks. Some walls run straight for long distances, creating corridors that feel endless when you walk through them. Other walls have many turns and corners that disorient people and make them lose their sense of direction quickly inside. The internal maze foundation continues taking shape as I work methodically through different sections of the circle. I divide the space mentally into regions and make sure each region has pathways connecting it to adjacent areas. No section should be completely isolated or unreachable from the rest of the maze structure. At the same time, I avoid making too many connections because that would make navigation too easy and boring. The balance between connection and separation is what makes a maze interesting and challenging to solve. I place walls that almost connect, but leave small gaps that observant maze runners might notice and exploit. Dead ends are essential features of any good maze, and I create plenty of them throughout my design. A dead end should not be obvious from far away. It should look like a promising path until you reach the end. I build dead ends of various lengths, some short, so you realize quickly, others long, so you waste more time walking. The frustration of reaching a dead end is part of the maze experience that makes finally finding the exit so rewarding. Every wrong turn makes the right turn feel more valuable and satisfying when you eventually discover it. I strategically place dead ends near the exit path so people might give up on the correct route too early by mistake. Junction points where multiple paths meet require extra careful planning and consideration from the builder. At every junction, the player must make a choice, and that choice should feel meaningful and uncertain. I avoid junctions where one path obviously looks better than others because that ruins the decision-making. All paths from a junction should look equally promising or equally suspicious to maintain the challenge. Some junctions have 3 or 4 options which can be overwhelming, but exciting for brave maze explorers. I make sure at least one junction option always leads toward the exit, even if indirectly through other junctions ahead. The maze interior is becoming quite complex now, with dozens of walls creating hundreds of possible paths through the space. I step back occasionally to look at the overall pattern and make sure it still makes sense as a solvable puzzle. From above, I can trace the solution path and verify that it actually connects entrance to exit without any blocked sections. I also check that the wrong paths are genuinely confusing and not obviously wrong from the start. A good maze tricks you into thinking you are making progress when you are actually heading toward a dead end. The red concrete walls on the floor now form an intricate pattern that will become three-dimensional soon. Small adjustments are needed in some places where I accidentally created shortcuts that make the maze too easy. I add extra wall segments to block these shortcuts and force people to take longer routes around. In other places, I realize there are not enough connections, and some areas are too isolated from the main path. I remove blocks to create new openings that link previously separated sections of the maze together. This refinement process is normal when building mazes. You rarely get the design perfect on the first attempt. Iteration and adjustment make the final result much better than rushing through without checking your work carefully. The foundation maze layout on the floor is now complete and tested mentally for solvability. I have traced the solution path multiple times and confirmed that it works from entrance to exit successfully. Now, I use commands again to raise all these internal walls up to the same height as the outer boundary. The fill command allows me to select regions and extend them vertically instantly without placing blocks individually. Wall by wall, the maze rises from a floor pattern into a three-dimensional labyrinth with towering corridors. The red concrete walls grow tall enough that you cannot see over them when walking through the passages inside. The commands complete their work, and my circular red maze stands complete with all walls at full height now. From inside the maze, you can only see the corridor directly ahead, and walls blocking every other direction. The entrance door waits for brave challengers who think they can navigate through to find the exit on the other side. My maze design balances difficulty with fairness, challenging but definitely solvable with patience and exploration. The red color creates an intense atmosphere like being inside some kind of dangerous challenge arena. Using commands for the foundation and wall raising saved hours of time, while the careful manual design ensures the maze is actually fun to solve. Great! My maze is ready! It's time for me to show it to the guys!
What? Yay!
Wow, JJ, you've got such a big maze, it's just huge. Will we be able to pass it at all?
Thank you guys. I am very glad that you liked my building. Friends, be sure to write in the comments whose building you liked the most. Well, I think it's time for us to finish.
Yes, JJ, you're right!
Subscribe and like. Bye-bye.